Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it? You already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye. This is a good one. Let's get to that intro. Welcome back to the channel, and if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. And I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. So what a difference a day makes, right? I just did a video yesterday on Jakey the Snakey Haro, right? You know, the convicted child killer, the convicted child abuser. I just did a video, and guess what happened this morning? Some breaking news. They kicked the can down the road, because that's what it's called. You know, when you're in prison and you keep antagonizing, you keep woofing, and you keep getting involved in stupid ass shenanigans, then you get stupid ass results. And stupid ass got them results this morning. This morning he was transpacked and transferred to the most notorious prison in the state of California right now. There are 3 prisons in the state of California you do not want to be at this point in time. One of them is High Desert State Prison. You don't want to be there. There's a lot of hopelessness. It's way the fuck out in the middle of nowhere. And believe me, no one that's there asked to be there. No one signed up for that, right? The second prison you don't want to be at, because you might get chained to a wall and get your shit chopped off, is New Folsom Prison. There's been more killings at New Folsom Prison in the last couple years than any other prison, all the prisons combined in the state of California. You do not want to go to New Folsom. But Jake didn't go to High Desert, nor did he go to New Folsom. This morning, breaking news, Jake was transpacked and transferred to Salinas Valley State Prison. Yes, indeed. You heard it here first. Salinas Valley State Prison, the most notorious prison in all the state of California, where you can get your shit bopped off daily. That's where Jake Haro is heading. In fact, his ship, the Eagle has landed. Jake Haro is now in Salinas Valley State Prison as of this morning. What does that mean? Nothing good for Jake. A lot of justice for baby Manuel and baby Promise. That's right. You know, when Jake was transpacked and transferred to Wasco State Prison for reception, that's understandable. That's the way it goes. That's exactly where he was going to end up. That's his reception. He went through there, and they slid him up out of there in less than a month, which was kind of unusual for someone with his points, being a level 4, being a lifer, having been convicted of killing a child, right? You would think that they would sit there a little bit longer for evaluation and tests and all that. But he slid up out of reception pretty fast, which was not uncommon. But in this case, to me, I thought it was a little fast, right? I thought they were trying to get him somewhere safe. You know, he that type of individual, because of the notoriety of his case, because of who he is, because the case is still ongoing with Richueca, Lumpy Butt Haro, right? You would think that, you know, they would try to get him to somewhere where there could be some type of safety. And they did. They did. They took him to the safest joint in CDCR. They took him to CMC. Upon his arrival from CMC, we all know he got into a little bit of a scuffle. That's to be expected. I don't know how many times people have been sent to prisons and got off in R&R. I myself, once upon a time when I was an active gang member, was sent to a no-good prison, which was Jamestown at that time. And I decided I didn't even want to get a little bit of a taste of that yard. I'm going to go ahead and do my thing in R&R, and didn't quite make it up out of R&R. Now, of course, if you know my story, you know eventually I did end up going to Jamestown further down the road, and I stood there, right? But in the beginning, there was the end. And the end game was get off where I was mad at, and I did that. Now, Jake is a whole different animal, literally, right? So when he gets there, of course, that is what they call a SNY yard in CMC. He's going to be welcomed down on bended knees with open arms like a Boyz II Men song. And so as soon as he gets there, of course, because of the notoriety of his case and because he's kind of an asshole, somebody decided to get off on him. Now, since that happened, he was removed to the RHU, the restrictive housing unit, to which he kept antagonizing COs. That's what I told you. That was the inside scoop that I got. He kept on antagonizing COs And look, if you know anything about doing time, which Jake doesn't seem to know a lot about, if you can't get along, if you become a security threat, if you become an obstacle, those correction officers are going to go to the administration and they're going to voice their opinion. And they're going to say, this guy is too hot to handle, too cold to hold. There's too much going on with this guy. This guy doesn't seem to want to program here with this safety net that we've given him. Because that's absolutely what the fuck it was. For those that have never done time, CMC is a programming yard. That prison has been known to program people, right? That means you go there, you're just doing easy, breezy time. Now, it's still prison. You still could have a fist fight here and a fist fight there. Someone could get, a little sliced up. That's every prison you go to from level 1 to level 4. That's a fact, right? But at the same time, they made it as easy as possible. He was, in fact, on the same yard in the same prison as Danny Master Baderson from That 70s Show. So he was on a kind of a comfortable yard. You haven't heard nothing going on with Danny Masterson lately because he's just doing his time, right? After the little scuffle, getting his hair pulled up in Corcoran, it was kind of the same pattern. He got transferred to CMC and his everything was going to see all right, cuz, right? But not for Jake the Snake. See, Jake kept antagonizing CEOs to the point where they kicked the can down the road. They no longer wanted him to be there. See, every time you get involved in a situation, your points go up. Your points go up and you have to go to administrative segregation. And from there, you go to an ICC committee meeting. And what is that ICC meeting? That's where the bigwigs, the administration, the gang counselors, all these people who basically run this prison come together like butt cheeks and they sit down in a circle and they do a kumbaya, right? They discuss you, they look at your file, and they figure out what's best, first and foremost, for the institution, the integrity of the institution, the safety and security of that prison and that yard, and then what they're going to do with you. And in this case, they decided that Jake Haro was no longer a good fit for CMC. He didn't want that safety net. He didn't want to be comfortable in that prison. So what they do, they decided to do something unprecedented, something crazy. They shipped this punk ass to Salinas Valley State Prison, the most rocking and rolling prison right now in CDCR. What does that mean for Jakey? That's not good. Oh, that's a whole lot of not good for him. For us, that means justice, supposedly, probably, hopefully, right? The last one, 100. You know what I mean? That right there. Salinas Valley State Prison does house notorious inmates. It does house a mindset that, if you're put and placed on certain yards there, man, you're going to get your head cut off. That's just how that is. Now, of course, he's going to go to what they consider an integrated yard or SNY yard. I wasn't aware that they had SNY yards at Salinas Valley State Prison, but they have to have it to have Jake Haro be transferred there. So that doesn't mean he's safe. That doesn't mean just because he's on an SNY yard, everything's going to be cool. Because that mentality of Salinas Valley State Prison is on every yard, whether it's GP, SNY, it doesn't fucking matter. It's that mentality of that prison. That prison rocks and rolls on every side, right? So now, because he wanted to run his dick suckers and bump baking soda breath on the doors and get off where he wasn't mad at, right? And argue with correction officers, well, they gave him a little present. A little late in the year for Christmas, but a little early for next one, right? Because he's going to be there for 31 more if he makes it. They transpacked him to Salinas Valley State Prison, and that's where he's at this morning. So now what has he got going on? Well, I believe Salinas Valley State Prison is going to be prepared for him. I believe those correction officers are already aware in his C file that he was giving the CEOs at CMC a hard time, a rough time. And so that means that he's not going to get anything any more different than anyone else. See, I had one guy get at me and he was like, oh, bro, are they going to take care of him because of this or that? No one gets taken care of. Look, that old myth about chomos and weirdos getting taken care of, the administration and CDCR is going to do whatever they have to do for the integrity of that place, right, of that prison, to minimize drama in some cases. Now, we know CDCR is also notoriously known for creating drama, like putting active gang members and non-active gang members on the same yard, calling it integration and programming yards, and knowing exactly what's going to happen. But that's a long game that they're playing. That's that model that they're playing, right? With Jake Haro, this is an anomaly. This is something different. For him to be transferred to Salinas Valley State Prison, it is exactly the way it sounds and looks. A hardship. Not a hardship for him, but a hardship for the people at CMC that are finally tired of dealing with the shenanigans and his bullshit and said, you know what, fucker, you want to act stupid? You're going to get stupid results. Stupid. And this is exactly where they sent him. Now, he still has Willie Lump Butt, Rebecca in his corner. Stay in my corner, of course. But there's nothing she could do to help him. She can't cover no stories. She can't do nothing for this dude. He's going to go to Salinas Valley State Prison, and he's going to reap exactly what he sows. That's the bed that he made. That's where he's going to lay. Now, one could only wonder what he's thinking on that bus as he's transferred from CMC to Salinas Valley State Prison. It's not a long drive. It's only, I think, a 2 or 3 hour drive. But I could only wonder what's going through his mind as he's shackled up on that bus, on that green goose, going where he's going. Now, it's a different animal. And this is what people don't understand that have never done time, especially in the California system. What's happening at one prison is not necessarily what's happening at another. There's similarities in the fact that you're going to go through R&R, reception. You know, when you first get there, you're going to be given your clothing, your bedding, things of that nature. But let me explain to you exactly how it goes. Everybody that works in R&R, and yes, there are inmates, convicts that actually work in R&R that have been there for years, right? They know exactly who's pulling up on that bus. They know exactly what time it is. Now, what they try to do in R&R for the most part, most prisons, is they try to keep neutral inmates there. What does that mean? That means guys that are not really gang related, guys that are not really super duper active, guys that just want to program and do their time, or are basically, they're set in the fact that this is their life. And a lot of them don't want to lose that cush job because, man, you can get the plug in. Usually when people are coming in from different facilities, different prisons, they might have a little clavo with them. They might have something that they could slide your way that you could tuck, and you get a little portion of everything, right? So the R&R hookup is actually a good job. You get to see everything. You know what's up. You work with these certain COs every day, man. You might get a little free hamburger here, a little hamburger there, a little hamburger everywhere, right? There's a lot of people and a lot of jobs in prison that people don't want to give up. So they're not necessarily going to make a move. But in a place like Salinas Valley State Prison, they run it a little bit different. Okay? They basically let the inmates run the asylum. The convicts do their program. Because they understand that in a place like that, where it's rocking and rolling, even cops getting whacked over there. You know, so don't get it misconstrued or think that Jake's going to be over there placed in the cage and everything's going to be perfect. Now, him being as notorious as he is as far as his crime, because he's not a notorious fella, right? He's a big stupid motherfucker. But as far as his crime and people knowing exactly who he is, yes, he will probably be placed in the cage, segregated and ostracized from everyone else. But eventually he's going to have to go to that yard. He's not going to get special treatment. He's going to be placed on that yard at Salinas Valley State Prison. And once that door cracks, there's going to be a lot of motherfuckers there to welcome him. There's going to be a lot of individuals there that haven't got a taste of what it is to have Jake Haro on their yard. I'm not saying he's going to get taxed or going to get ran up in, allegedly. And I'm not going to say all these things are going to happen to him. But I'll tell you, he has a more opportunity, and there's more airspace, and there's more chance, and there's more data ROM, a whole lot of data ROM, right, to download, that he's going to go over there and have way more issues and way more problems than he did at CMC. He was good at CMC. He just didn't see it because he doesn't understand how to do time. There is no way that they're going to keep him in administrative segregation because he wants to. There's no way he's going to PC up and just stay solo and bolo the whole time he's there. No, eventually you're going to have to conform to the realities that you're in prison doing life because you killed a child. You got to do what you have to do, Jake. And that's exactly what happened today. Administration got tired of his bullshit over there at CMC, and they said, take your punk ass to Salinas Valley. Now, for those who do not believe me, I want to send a big shout out to Pink Diva, who actually made me aware of this information, man. So shout out to her. She gets her flowers because they're deserved, right? That's the homegirl right there. If you guys are not following her, go follow her on TikTok. She runs a true crime channel where she's heavily invested in being an Emmanuel warrior, man, and fighting for justice for children as well as everyone else who's been done wrong. Shout out Pink Diva. She brought this to my attention. I vetted it, of course, and bam, voila, here I am. And I can't say that I'm mad. I'm pretty happy, right? Because now Jake Haro is going to get a taste of some real medicine. Like I said, it doesn't matter what prison you go to, there's going to be trouble. There's going to be trouble. But this prison right here, there's going to be a whole lot more trouble. This is Salinas Valley State Prison. And I know people are like, he's going to be in the SNY yard. He'll be okay. Are you serious? Do you understand that they're hitting more motherfuckers on that yard than any other yard? Where he is going to be an issue. But that's all because he's a stupid ass that doesn't know how to do time. You know, when you keep giving the officers a hard time and not letting them do their job, they are going to kick the can down the road. Now he is Salinas Valley's problem. And for those of you that don't believe he did, look it up. Look it up on your prison website shit, and you'll see exactly what I say is truth, right? So now we're kind of like on a watch. Before it was kind of like, I was conformed to the reasoning that he was just going to be doing his time there. A few little isolated incidences here and there, because there's a lot of people that wish bad upon this guy. I don't wish bad upon no one, but I don't wish no good at all when it comes to Jake, right? But I was one of those guys that was like, because I've done prison time, it's kind of like, okay, eventually, you know, he's going to become yesterday's news and people are going to understand. He might get socked up here and there, but no one's going to really trip. They're going to just let him do his time. He's on a fucking a bad yard anyways. It's not like he's around some active killers that are actively killing, right? Nah, he's going to go over there with some dudes that will take your shit off, but they're not tripping. They're not going to waste their time on this guy after a little while, right? But now that he's going to Salinas Valley, it starts all over. And now you're at a place of hopelessness, desolation, and a place where stabbing someone is like breathing. Okay, so it's going to be bad for him. So I'm on a watch. And I'll be bringing you guys all the updates. I done lost my inside source over there at fucking CMC, but I am going to definitely tap in with someone out there in Salinas Valley and find out exactly what's going on with this guy to the best of my capabilities is what I do, right? I will tell you guys this, though. It's all bad for Jake. It's all bad. I don't see him lasting 5 years on that prison yard. I see an incident happening pretty damn soon, right? I guess we're just going to have to keep up to date. And for those of you that are like, oh, feeling like some type of emotion in your heart for this dude, fuck this dude. He didn't feel that way for Emmanuel or Promise. Not at all. You know, he doesn't know how to do time, and now he's going to reap and sow the rewards of not knowing how to do time, and now he's going to go not know how to do time in a place where time will do you bad. That's just the truth of it, right? When I was brought this information, I was like, wow, can't be true. There ain't no way. Salinas Valley, out of all places. And that goes to show you how CDCR don't play no games. You want to play games with them, they'll play back, but they're not playing no games. There are places that they can send you if you act the fool. And that's precisely what this is. This is not like there's a special program over there that just fits him perfectly. No, this is a fact that he just didn't know how to do his time there and kept fucking with the COs. So they eventually said, you know what? Let's send him to where he wants to play Billy Badass. He wants to play that tough role. Let's get his punk ass, child killing ass down the road to Salinas Valley. Let's see how he plays over there, because they don't play. Anyways, with that being said, Jake Haro is in a world of trouble. I will be monitoring the situation and keeping you guys up to date as best as possible. Again, shout out Pink Diva's World, man. You know what I'm saying, for looking out for your boy with the information and shedding light. Also, I want to say, man, for those of you that have been watching my channel tremendously for long, we got big things coming up. We're going to keep this ball rolling. We're not going to stop. The shit it can't stop because it won't stop. Shout out Gunners Collective, all the people that have been rocking with me for 5.5 years. I know lately it seems like, man, I haven't been doing as much content as people would hope, but I'm doing the best I can with what I got. You know, I got family things going on. I got friend things going on. I just got a lot going on in my life right now. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that the motherfucking ship don't rock and stops, right? I'm still sailing. So with that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly and honestly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. This video right here, and I'm so happy that I was able to make this video. Fuck Jake Haro, right? Me la pela puto. And Lumpy Butt will be joining you soon. But this video is sponsored by Vario Liquors out there in Turlock, California. If you're in the Central Valley, in Turlock, California, man, make sure that you stop in at the Vario and get you something cold to drink. Also by Sticks and Stones Yard Service out there in the big state of Arizona. Google the homeboy, man. Get with this program so he can hook your yard up and get with yours. With that being said, I appreciate all the support. I appreciate the early morning breaking news. And Jake Haro's in Salinas Valley. And I know I say that and people are like, so what? It's just another prison. Shh, it is him. It is that prison. I'm telling you. Bang, bang.